Hey, Michael, it's great to see you, and thanks for taking your time to share your experience being partnered with Solutions 360. For those that are watching unfamiliar with Michael, Michael Tremble is the CEO of Valley Communications. And Valley Communications is a leading systems integrator delivering audiovisual, security, and communication solutions across the New England market. With decades of industry experience and a strong focus on growth and innovation, Michael brings a unique perspective on scaling operations and driving long-term customer success. Michael, right out of the gate, there's a common question that gets asked by almost every single one of our prospects. That is, how did we know we were ready to make a change, an ERP change from our existing tools?
Yeah. First of all, hi Tim. It's good to see you, and thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. Um, so for Valley Communications, we were growing as a company. We were evolving, but our systems weren't growing with us at the speed that we needed them to. We had a lot of different disparate systems in our process, and different softwares, different solutions that we were kind of hodgepodging together in a Frankenstein kind of a way to deliver the result that we really wanted. A few examples: we had project data living in one place, financials lived in another place, our service history somewhere else, our quoting tool was somewhere else. So we had all of these different parts that really just didn't seamlessly blend into a common piece. That caused a lot of issues for us. Handoff friction from like sales to ops to service, all the way through to finance and billing and everything else. And honestly, just as we grew, as we got to certain revenue levels, certain size, and certain just project volume, we couldn't paper over this stuff anymore. We had to really get to that point where we said, all right, now this is costing us real money and costing us real clients for not evolving and growing.
So you had all these multiple systems. It wasn't really not talking well together, and eventually it was
Exactly.
just holding you back. Was there, as you're looking through the process, and yet at some point have to justify the investment to go from these multiple tools, you knew that there were inefficiencies, but how did you kind of look at the study of the where we are and what Q360 could do from a unified platform? How did you justify that investment?
Um, well, I mean, we just got to a point. I mean, like many, smaller AV integrators out there, we just got to a point where the cost of not doing something just outweighed the cost of doing something. So again, as I alluded to in the previous question, we were growing, but we were getting held back. So we weren't able to address our clients in the way that we wanted to. We weren't able to provide the visibility into our process, into our procedures, and everything else to our own staff to enable us to grow and change and evolve, or to our clients as we wanted to. For us, that business case, it wasn't really complicated. We looked at what we were spending, in hours, just like managing information and not doing the real work of making sure that we're serving our clients in the most appropriate way. So yeah, I mean, the initial investment, it's an uncomfortable number to look at until you stop and look back and say, hey, you know what? All of the time, all the effort, and all the efficiency that we're going to either save or efficiency case we're going to create is really it became a pretty clear ROI for us at that point.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I'll leave it there.
So it was a big investment of time and money, energy going through the process. But at the end of the day, you knew that was what you needed to do to improve that operational efficiency
Totally.
and really, at the end of the day, increase your overall revenues. If you're comfortable sharing, are there any specific financial impacts that you're able to share with us?
Yeah, I mean, really, I know you asked for specific, but generally, we got much greater visibility into what we were doing. That greater visibility led to increased accountability for all of us across the board, from leadership all the way down to whatever level at the company. And every single person had that greater accountability because everybody was able to see what was happening in our systems and through that process. That additional accountability created more margin for us because we all of a sudden, with a little bit of an eye on you, or a little bit more of an established process that the entire company now understands, that's unified, throughout, we're able to kind of create better margin and be a lot more efficient in the way that we worked. Our project level profitability changed how we scope and how we price our projects, which we looked and we said, hey, where are we bleeding? Where are we doing excessively well? Let's change that. Let's make sure that we're able to, create different labor areas or backfill in an area where we're maybe weak or we need to be better.
So you're able to look at the KPIs and the metrics, that the reports and dashboards in a more real-time perspective, and really make those adjustments to your business based on what the data is telling you, rather than waiting to get that information, or maybe not even having that information at your fingertips.
Right.
So when it comes to KPIs and metrics, we often get asked, what are the top, three
Yeah.
KPIs that I'd want to look at as a business owner? What are the ones that are the bloodline for Valley Communications?
Sure. One important clarification. It was guesswork before
Okay.
360, or it was putting something together and getting to a point where it's too late to affect a real change on maybe that project or on an immediate subsequent project. Now with 360, we've got that information in semi or almost real time. We're able to make our decisions a lot faster. So when we're looking at those KPIs, we are absolutely a data driven company. We no longer make all of our decisions based upon a gut feeling or a good feeling or a bad feeling. We look at the data, we rely on that data, and we grow and make our decisions based upon that. So that data driven decision making was a major strategic initiative for us, in line with the Solutions 360 cutover migration, whatever we're going to call it, as we kind of moved over. The key KPIs that we really look at is we look at project gross margin. Obviously, we look at that in real time, not just at the end of the project, so we can see, hey, where are we on the labor utilization side? Where how are we burdening that against our budget? Service contract performance, SLA adherence, how are we doing on that? Making sure that we now have an automatic trigger or a way to auto bill that in our initial setup. That's incredibly helpful. We look at our backlog health, our pipeline. On the sales side, we look at kind of what that pipeline to revenue conversion number looks like. I mean, basically, we try to use your tool to the fullest. So, I mean, I could go through the list of all the different KPIs that you guys offer, but I think from our standpoint, we have some incredibly talented and intelligent people on the backside of what we're doing, and they've created amazing, amazing dashboards for us. And that's one of the cool things, is that's a customizable capability for the KPIs. That we've got a great executive dashboard, we've got a sales leadership dashboard, we've got the project management dashboards, and the pre-can stuff is good, but the people inside of Valley who've been able to create and kind of customize that and really leverage your tool to the fullest extent has been really helpful to us from a leadership perspective.
So it sounds like you're using a lot of the canned reports, but at the same time, that live data report builder is giving your team the power to go ahead and create those ad hoc reports, customize and
Absolutely.
configure them to really get every bit of power out of the system. That sounds
Yeah.
fantastic, especially how you're leveraging the project capacity, the SLAs, and really driving every single one of your departments with accountable metrics. I've got one last question for you. So, looking back at the way that you implemented Q360, and your pathway as you've been developing it over the years, what's something that you might do differently through this process?
All right. Things that we do differently. I think managing that change up front a little bit better is something that we could have done better and done a little bit differently. We absolutely worked with the Navigate team. We worked with the Solutions 360 team, and it was a nice cohesive kind of process all the way through. I think we didn't. While we understood what we were doing was a large and major undertaking, I think we underestimated just how disruptive in a positive way that was going to be. So investing more time in that change management up front, I think your technology was ready far before our team was, and we had to spend time to really close that gap. I know that we took a very long time in our implementation process, and in that, that's something that is the fault of us on that in that process as well. I don't hold or blame Solutions 360 for that in any way, shape, or form. We were slow and we were laggy. And if I could do it again, I think ripping the band-aid off and just diving into it in an intelligent way, obviously, is the best way to do it. We should not have dragged our implementation out as long as we did. And by the way, that was against the recommendations of the advisors and the implementation team at Solutions 360. So I guess I listened to your team a little bit more as far as how we would do that. Um, I would have made sure that we had, hindsight's 2020, and I love being the Monday morning quarterback. But now that I know all the data that I wanted and all the data that actually mattered when it came over and the stuff that didn't matter and everything else, I would have parsed that a little bit more cleanly. I would have cleaned that up. I would have made sure that it was a lot more cohesive going into that implementation. But those are things, unfortunately, that you just kind of learn over time. And I probably, if I was doing it again, would make the same mistake again, just because I wouldn't know any better. Um,
Yeah.
and then, you know, those are really the things I do differently. More importantly, the things that I would do the same. Because there was a lot that went into the decision making process, and certainly it's not a light investment as you drive into this, but it is certainly business changing. Um, Things we do the same, we would have made the decision to invest. Once we understood your company, who you were, what you did, once we found out about you through partners like the NSCA and did the reference checks, talked to different people, it was a no-brainer. That decision came really, really quickly. We haven't looked back, and I really have no regrets on that whatsoever. Um, Other things I would do the same, choosing a platform that speaks specifically to the integrator market, that speaks to our world. A generic ERP is great, and you can get a ton of information from there. You can do a lot, but they don't always understand how the low voltage industry, how the integration industry works, how we bill things, how we manage things, how we're dealing with certified payroll, prevailing wage, all the different aspects. You guys checked off just about every single one of those boxes for us. So that made it an easy decision. I would do that the same again. And then lastly, things we would also do the same that I think is really important, making sure that the remaining leadership team, aside from just myself, were completely and totally bought in. And that was another advantage that we had was our whole leadership team was gung ho on this, and they were ready to make that change. I think that's a really important thing is that communicational aspect of it, and making sure that your ELT is really there and ready for that change and to make that change, and having everybody on board that made it a heck of a lot easier.
Absolutely agree. And we see the same success when we see that full buy-in from the entire team, and it's not just a decision made by, one or, a couple of people. So it sounds like you would definitely do it again. You would bring in the team, get everyone bought into the product and the solution. And then something that you might do differently is you get in front of the data, make sure that piece is clean. And you said something that kind of was funny to me that you wouldn't know any better. And I want to thank you, Michael, because it's everyone who's going to watch this that is, able to learn from something from you that you've already been down that pathway. Um, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. And
Of course.
are there any remaining last notes that you would like to leave to the audience?
No, other than we've been on this platform for a number of years now. We really haven't looked back. It's changed the way that we do business, and it's changed our decision making process from something that's really a gut feeling and a good or bad feeling to something that's data driven and that's able to be accounted for and backed up. So for that, thank you to your team for helping us down this road. Your support after the sale has been stellar as well. So I sincerely appreciate that, and I wish you guys all the best as you continue to grow and evolve. I'm very excited for what the next chapters of Solutions 360 look like.
Absolutely. And looking forward to growing with you and the Valley Communications team, Michael.